Hello everybody, this is Brit Simon. Today I'm going to explain how to enter the Green Card Lottery and give yourself the best chance of winning. Okay, and thanks for joining me to learn about how to enter the lottery. I'm going to explain how to enter, what you can do to make sure you've got the best possible chance. I'll tell you why this year is probably going to be the best chance you've had in years of winning. And I'll make sure that you can avoid some traps that people fall into that destroy their opportunity. So first, a little bit about me. I actually run a blog that is solely about the DV lottery. That blog is on BritSimonSays.com. I get over 2 million hits per year. I answer questions on that blog. I get a lot of activity. I'm quite well known within the DV lottery circle. So I've helped thousands of DV winners, that's Green Card Lottery winners, since 2013, literally thousands. And so I have the expertise to tell you how to enter, and then once you've been selected, I can tell you how to process your case. I actually got my green card through the DV lottery in 2014. I had been working in the USA for a number of years under an H1 visa. I now live in Northern California, just outside of San Francisco, and I work as a software architect for a large publicly listed company. So, okay, why is this going to be the best chance you've had in a long time? Well, there are some changes this year that have been introduced, and really they could be advantageous to you if you know how to enter the lottery and if you can enter the lottery this year. So, 3 reasons. There is a new passport requirement, which will mean that some people can't apply. The requirement is that you must have a valid, unexpired passport at the time of entry, and you're going to have to provide information from that passport on the entry. If you provide incorrect information, if you provide a fake passport, you'll be disqualified later. And so knowing that, I'm expecting there to be a reduction in the number of entries and therefore better chances for people that can enter and have entered properly. The photo requirements are more strict now than they used to be. You mustn't use an old photo. You can't use a photo that you've used in previous lotteries, certainly. But you shouldn't be using an old photo that perhaps you've got lying around. You should take a new photo just for this DV lottery. One important thing that's happening this year, there are more visas available this year than there have been in any of the previous 20 years or so. This year, 55,000 visas will be available rather than the previous 50,000 visas that has been available. So there's 10% more visas, there's less people who are going to be entering, more people will be disqualified because they don't listen, and so this year really could be your best chance in a long time. All right, who can apply? You must be born in an eligible country. You can also be chargeable to that eligible country. I'll explain a little bit more about that later. You must have at least an educational equivalent to a US high school, which is the point at which an American kid enters university, what they call college over here. So that's typically about 18 years old, and it's the point at which you can go into university, which in America is a 4-year bachelor's degree university. You have that level of education, or you have 2 years of work experience, and that work experience needs to be at a professional level in certain jobs, etc. But the easiest way to qualify is through the education side. The list of countries which are ineligible. So if you were born in these countries, you're ineligible to enter. Bangladesh, Brazil, Canada, China on the mainland, Colombia, Dominican Republic, El Salvador, Guatemala, and that's new this year. Guatemala has just been added this year. Haiti, India, Jamaica, Mexico, Nigeria, Pakistan, Peru, Philippines, South Korea, United Kingdom, except for Northern Ireland and its dependent territories, and Vietnam. Now, the astute of you will notice that I'm from Britain originally, so I'm from the United Kingdom, and the United Kingdom has been ineligible for quite a number of years, but I actually got my eligibility to enter the lottery through my Spanish-born wife. So that's why I was able to get the lottery, and I can explain a little bit more about that later. There isn't an age requirement, but you must meet other requirements. So if, for example, you're 16 or 17 years old, you can enter the lottery, but you must meet the educational requirements by the time you go for interview. So you can enter early, but as I say, you have to meet the other requirements. And as I mentioned earlier, a new rule for this year is that you must have an unexpired passport. That's only for the main entrant, for you individually, so your spouse doesn't necessarily have to have a passport of their own to enter with you. But if they want to have their own entry as well, then they will need their own passport. Your kids must be listed on your entry, but they don't necessarily need a passport at the time of your original entry. I should just mention there's no cost to apply for the lottery. There are some people who try and charge money for entering the lottery. It's not necessary to pay any money. It's a very simple process. And actually using other people, agents, etc., to help you enter the lottery will probably reduce your chances of succeeding. So don't do it. Don't pay anyone to enter the lottery for you. I've seen so many people's lives get shattered, hearts are broken because they trusted someone to enter. That person then takes advantage of them, blackmails them essentially, or ruins their application. So really, just don't do that. Okay, so this year's lottery entry. I actually discovered the other day, and I published a few days ago, that the government had leaked the entry period a little bit earlier. I'll post the video if you just look in the link above that's coming up now. The video is where the government had leaked the information by mistake. So I already know the entry period will be from October 2nd, 2019 to November 5th, 2019. It hasn't been officially announced yet, but I expect it will be this week. It typically is announced in this week, just around about the end of September each year. And the entry period is typically in the same sort of time frame as this. So there is no need to rush your entry. You don't get any increase in your chances by entering on the day that the lottery opens or the last day of the lottery or any other time. It's completely unimportant when you enter. So there's no need to rush, but you should follow along with me, subscribe to my channel, and I will show you how to enter the lottery and giving yourself the best possible chance within this time frame for this year. Okay. You need to have the valid unexpired passport to enter, and there'll be a few personal details that you'll need at the time of entry, which you'll probably just know, but it would be handy to have certainly your passport available to yourself, and you will need to have a new photo, as I mentioned earlier. The photo, by the way, doesn't have to be taken professionally. It can be taken with a phone camera. You can take kind of a selfie and produce a decent passport equivalent photo, one that meets the requirements for this process. So you don't have to pay a lot of money to get this photo. And as I mentioned before, there is no fee to enter the lottery. If somebody is charging you a fee to enter the lottery, they are scamming you. They're ripping you off. So don't pay anyone. Okay, about the photo itself. The examples here is the sort of photo you'll have. You'll see it's a square photo. If it were printed out, it would be 2 inches by 2 inches. Because it's a digital photo that's going to be uploaded, it's actually 600 pixels across the top and 600 pixels down, up and down. And that's a specific size. Now, there is a full description of the digital image requirements at this link. I'll make sure this link is clickable, and it will be below. There is a free cropping tool on the government website that lets you take a photo from your computer and crop it to the right dimensions and size and put your face in the proper location, etc. And I really recommend you use that tool. There are some paid for tools as well. They're not bad, but they cost, a little bit of money. There's no need to use those tools when you can do this quite simply yourself. I will produce a photo video fairly soon as well to show you how to take a photo at home with a selfie camera, with a camera, a phone camera, to just show that you can produce a photo like this with a white background at home quite simply. Okay, so I'm going to give you now 3 very important tips to improve your chances of selection. These 3 are absolutely golden ways to improve. Number 1, entering the lottery. If you don't enter, you can't win. So you have to enter the lottery and make sure that you've prepared properly to be able to do that within the October to November time period. So, you've got to be in it to win it, is the old saying. Telling the truth is absolutely imperative in this process. There are some people who fail in this process year after year. Every year I get people who thought it would be okay if they just told a little white lie here or just told a little lie here. No, telling the truth is fundamentally important in this process. You should do that in life anyway, but in this process in particular, you will find that lies will catch you out and get you disqualified. So don't do that. Make sure you tell the truth. It's also very important that you follow the instructions exactly. Okay, I'm going to give you some instructions. The government's website will give you some instructions. There are a huge amount of information on my blog that will tell you how to process your selection when you get picked as a winner. But you have to follow instructions. Okay, so don't think that you can just come up with a solution. I have people emailing me all the time. I've done this stupid thing. What is the solution? And some of the time I have to answer there is no solution because you did a stupid thing. So don't do that stupid thing. Follow the instructions. Quite simple, really. Now, other than that, if somebody tells you that there's some special trick to improve your chances of selection outside of these things, they're liars and scammers, and they don't know what they're talking about. So the draw is totally random. It doesn't give any preference for any reason. So, for example, if you think that let's say you've got a normal education, but you think it's a good idea to pretend you've got a very good education because you think that's going to improve your chances of selection. It won't. It won't improve your chance of selection at all. And actually, all you've done is told a lie, which will probably get you disqualified if you were selected. So don't do that. You'd be an idiot to do that. Other people think that I've heard this both ways. Some people think that it's better, you've got more chance of selection if you're single, and other people say you've got more chance of selection if you put down that you're married. Either way, if you tell a lie, you're going to be disqualified, right? So if you're married, enter as married. For goodness sake, enter as married because you're married. Tell the truth. But, and the other way around too. If you're single, enter as single, right? But the point is, it doesn't make any difference to your chance of selection whether you're married or single. So don't tell a lie, right? Really, number 2 is absolutely most important. Tell the truth. So, and it would just make my life a little bit easier later on when you've been selected and you come to me and you're asking questions and I figure out that you've told some sort of lie in the process. I'm going to then have to break you the bad news that you've screwed up your whole chance because you were a liar. Okay, so if you don't want to be told that, don't lie. Quite simple. All right, why do so many fail in the process? Well, some people who are selected as winners are disqualified immediately, even before the announcement of the winners. So the entry process is in October, from October 2nd to November the 5th. The announcement of the winners is in May. In between those time periods, the winners are selected and there is some sort of background checking, etc. And lots of people who are selected as winners initially will be disqualified before they're even told that they were selected as winners. And I can prove that. I know that's the case. I've been doing this for years. I understand the process extremely well. and I've got categorical proof that many people are disqualified before the announcement even. Typically, that's because they're doing multiple entries. They're repeating the use of photos from previous years. They're doing all sorts of stupid things. But it is possible to be disqualified before the process has even started. Then other people are selected as winners and they're disqualified during the process. Those are the people that are telling lies in the process. They said they're married and they're not, or they said they're single and they're not, they're actually married, or they forgot to include one of their children because it was inconvenient to take a photo of their child or whatever. And those people are going to get disqualified in the process, and there's nothing I can do to save them. There's nothing they can do to save themselves. They're going to get disqualified with certain mistakes that they make. Using an agent will make you more likely to fail. It's kind of a reverse logic. You would think you would go to a professional, pay them some small fee, and they're going to help you. No, a couple of things are going to happen. Number one, they're probably going to mess up your personal details and effectively, ruin your chances that way. Number two, if you do get selected as a winner, I'll tell you what will happen. They're going to keep your winning entry details, and when you're selected as a winner, they're going to say, "Oh, you've been selected. You've now got to give me $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000, whatever fee they want. And if you don't give me that, I won't give you your winning details." Right? It happens all the time. Or you're a single person. You've entered the lottery. The agent's got all your winning details, but now he wants you to marry his sister or someone he knows because they're going to pay him some money, and that will get you disqualified and banned from the United States for life. Okay, and you're committing immigration fraud when you do things like that. So for goodness sake, don't do that. So anyway, using an agent, either because they're well-meaning but they mess something up, or they become greedy and try and take money from you when you become a winner. Using an agent will make you more likely to fail in this process. It's a simple process. You can do it yourself online. It doesn't cost anything, so please do it yourself. I'll help you. There's no need for you to do anything daft like using an agent. Okay? Common errors. People do these things all the time. They pick the wrong country of chargeability. They think that it's to do with nationality or where they live now, or I don't know, or they think they can improve their chances by picking some other country. No, all of those things are idiotic things to do. The best chance you can do is pick your country of birth. If your country of birth is eligible, that should be the country you enter with, and you should not try and charge to any other country. If you're born in an ineligible country, but your spouse that you're already married to at the time of entry was born in an eligible country, then your spouse can enter on their own behalf, and you can enter charging to their country. Okay, so I'll explain how that can be done in the entry form in a later video. But that is a possibility. But if you're in that situation, I want you to wait until a few hours after the entry period has opened this year, and I'm going to produce a video that will explain with this year's entry form exactly how you would enter that in that case. Okay, so wait for that, please. Subscribe to my channel and wait for that video. It's very important you do that to do that right. If you do it wrong, you will ruin your chance. Okay, if you do it right and you do it, this is how I actually managed to win the lottery. If you do it right, you can be selected, even though you're from an ineligible country. Okay, so listen to my words carefully. I can help you if you listen. So here we go. Next common errors: not including an eligible spouse or children. Not spouse of children, I beg your pardon, there's this typo there, but or children. So if you're married, you must include your spouse on your entry. You must include your spouse. That means you need to have a photo of your spouse. If you're separated from your spouse but not legally separated, you may not be able to enter the lottery because you need to have a current photo of your spouse in order to enter the lottery. In the same way, if you don't have your kids, let's say you're separated or divorced, etc., and you don't have access to your kids to take a photo, an up-to-date photo, you may not be able to enter the lottery because you must include all your children that are under 21 on your lottery entry. And that includes, by the way, stepchildren through marriage. So if you have no children, but you're married to a spouse that has children that either live with you or don't live with you, it doesn't matter. Those children are your stepchildren, okay? And those children must be included on the lottery entry. You can also include adopted children if you have adopted them at least 2 years earlier. So you can include those. You cannot, however, include children of brothers, sisters, someone in the village, someone, someone older than you that you pretend is your child. You can't include those people. You need to only include people that are genuinely your children, either through genetic birth or through adoption, legal adoption, at least 2 years old. Legal adoption that is at least 2 years old, or stepchildren. That's it. And you must include children that are under 21. This year, you're going to be asked to provide passport information on your lottery entry. You'll have to have an unexpired passport for yourself, not for your children, and not necessarily for your spouse, but at least for yourself. You'll have to have an unexpired passport. And you'll have to enter in the passport number and the issuing authority, etc. If you make up a passport number, you won't be able to go through the process even if you're selected. So I'm sure there are some agents who will say, oh, don't worry, we'll figure that out later. We'll come up with a solution. Just enter the lottery, give me my few dollars of fee, and we'll figure that out. We've got a special way to see you through. No, complete nonsense. If you don't have a valid passport of the same number that you enter on the day you enter, if you don't have a real genuine passport, you're going to be disqualified. It's as simple as that. So there's no point to your entering. And by the way, you can tell those agents from me they're morons, because there is no way that they're going to come up with some special plan. This process and entering the passport information is designed to stop morons like that. Okay, so please don't fall for their smooth talk. Photos not to specification. If you really screw up your photo badly, it doesn't matter if it's a little bit off, it doesn't matter if the background is a little bit not white, it doesn't matter about minor things, but if you really badly screw it up, or you attach a photo, let's say you switch the photos between yourself and your spouse, those things can cause disqualification. If you use a photo that you've previously used for a previous lottery entry, that can cause disqualification too. You're supposed to use a photo that is less than 6 months old at the time of the entry. So basically just go out and take a new passport type photo against a white background, and that's all you need to do. And it doesn't need to cost a lot of money, so do that. Common errors, some people enter and they can't meet the educational requirement. And they don't meet the work experience requirement. So this is a bit of a tough one. I mean, there is, so for example, if you're young and you're going through school, and by the time of interview you will have passed that education requirement, you can enter. You don't have to meet the requirement right now. If, on the other hand, you went through school and you failed some important results, and the job you're doing now is just a regular job, not particularly a professional level job, then you're not going to be able to qualify if you are selected, and it's a frustrating thing. So I would ask you to think carefully whether you think you're going to be able to pass the eligibility on work experience or education. If you can't, save yourself some heartache and pain and don't enter. Okay. Another common error, I've already mentioned this, lying in the process. Catches people out all the time because apparently in some places around the world, lying is considered okay. But it's not okay to lie to the American government when you want the American government to give you a green card. Right? So So that is a very simple way to get disqualified. And then, quite simply, failing to follow instructions. People get disqualified because they just didn't follow the instructions. It's so frustrating. Most people that speak to me through my blog understand the things they've got to do, and I've managed to save people from themselves and from their own, foolishness, frankly. And I've helped people get through that, left to their own devices, would have messed up their own applications. So, just follow the instructions. And if you do get selected, please come to my blog and I'll help you through every step of the way to make sure that you get through. And I don't charge for this, by the way. I don't charge for this service, but I'm a previous lottery winner and I liked the idea that I'm giving back. And I have helped thousands. I'm quite certain I've helped thousands of people emigrate to the USA and get their DV lottery green card. So I'm happy to help out in that way. Okay, there's a travel ban at the moment. So nationals of Libya, Iran, Somalia, Syria, and Yemen can enter the lottery and can be selected, but they may not be able to process their case. Now, in order to get around the travel ban today, as it stands today, the most reliable way is to have dual citizenship. So you have citizenship of another country other than your original country of birth. If that original country of birth is one of these travel ban countries. So that's the most reliable way to get around it. Also, residents of Canada, permanent residents in Canada, people in the USA already can process their case. So if you're born in Yemen or Syria, etc., but you're already in America on some non-immigrant visa at the time that you enter and are selected, then you can process your case in America. But the other thing I want to say is that if you are from one of these countries, the ban could be removed at any time because, maybe Trump will wake up tomorrow and be a decent human being, but, that seems unlikely. But if you look at the dates of processing, they're kind of important here. The dates of processing for the DV2021 will be from October 1st, 2020 to September 30th, 2021. That means for quite a majority of this processing period, a new president will probably be in place. There'll be a presidential election, and the new president would be installed from January 20th, 2021. Now, there is a chance that Trump is re-elected and policies will just continue. But if there is any common sense at all in this country left, then hopefully we'll have a more sensible president and a new president. And in that case, almost every president I can imagine, every presidential candidate today would probably very quickly remove the travel ban, which is clearly an anti-Muslim travel ban. So that ban could be removed. So in that case, you should enter the lottery if you are from one of these impacted countries. In my opinion, you should. I can't guarantee you'll be able to process, but there's a good chance that you will be able to. All right, so consider that if you're from one of those impacted countries. Timeline, as I've already mentioned a couple of times, the entry period, I believe, is going to be from October the 2nd, 2019 to November the 5th, 2019. So it's just over a 1 month period during which you can enter. Then the results are announced on May 7th, 2020. And then interviews for the process will start, as I mentioned, at the beginning of October in 2020 and end at the end of September 2021. It's a full 1 year period, so this is a relatively slow process. Look at that timeline. You're going to enter in late 2019, and some people won't actually get an interview until September 2021. And they could be entering as late as 2022. They could be entering the USA for the first time as late as 2022. So it really is, for some people, quite a long process. The link is shown down there. I'll give you this link in the instructions below here. That is the official site. It's the only site you should be entering the lottery at. It's free to enter at that site, and it's the official site, and you can trust that site. It's run by the government. don't enter the lottery at any other site, please. Okay, next steps. What should you do next? Well, you can view my existing video on how to enter. If you look above, I'm going to link to that about now. That video is a little bit old, and so what I suggest you do is subscribe to my channel and wait for the new entry video, which will include the passport requirements, and I'll produce that video within a few hours of the entries being open in October. So let's say the entry period will open on October the 2nd, midday or noon, around about noon in East Coast time in the USA. So later on that evening, I'll produce a video. I'll enter. Now, what's going to happen is the lottery site will open for entries, and it will immediately get overwhelmed by people trying to enter, and the site will collapse, and everybody will be hitting my website and saying, there's some sort of problem and Trump is winning and all this sort of nonsense. But it's just a matter of time. After a few hours, after a day, or maybe even 2 days, we find that the amount of traffic hitting the lottery website is reduced. More people can then enter without any problems. So I will wait a few hours after the initial opening, and then I will enter. I'll create some entries on the lottery website myself. I'll go through the whole entry process so you can see that, and I'll record a video of that. So if you're subscribed to my channel, you'll see that that video being pushed out. Watch my videos. I've got a number of videos on my channel here on YouTube. You can read my blog. My blog is at britsimonsays.com. And then enter in October. That's going to be your main thing. As I said, it doesn't matter when in October or even early November when you enter. None of that is important. It doesn't matter when. So be patient. Wait for this initial sort of flush of excitement, and wait for those people to get frustrated, and then follow along with me to make sure you enter correctly. Don't forget, I'm probably one of the world's leading experts in this DV lottery process. My blog is extremely active, and I'm happy to help you through. I'm happy to help you through your process, both in the entry, and if you're selected, if you're one of those lucky people that get selected, I'll help you through every step of the way. Okay, so I hope that's been interesting and useful for you. Watch my other videos, please. Do subscribe to my channel. Let me know what you think about this process and this video. Click the like button, leave a comment below. I love that interaction, and you'll see that I answer as many people as I possibly can. So please do go ahead and interact with me there. And good luck, best of luck. Living in America is fantastic. It's a hard slog. I mean, let me just add, emigrating to another country is not an easy thing to do. And for a lot of people, frankly, they'd probably be better off not even trying. But if you're the sort of person that has guts and determination and wants a better life, etc., you can probably get a better life living in America than almost any other country in the world. There are some downsides of living in America, there's no doubt. But there are plenty of upsides, and for me and my family, it's been a wonderful experience of working in America and living in America now, and I'm very content and happy to call America my home. Now, I lived in the UK, and I had the ability to travel all over the world. I've got a pretty well-paid job. I had a very nice quality of life in the UK. But there's just something a little bit more in the USA. So you get a little bit more. So if you're from Europe and you're comfortable, etc., maybe living back in Europe is better for you, and just visit the USA. But for some people, they will prefer to live in America. If you're in Africa and perhaps you're experiencing problems living in Africa, perhaps economic problems, perhaps social problems, etc. If you're from Asia or Oceania region, you can enter the lottery, and if you get selected, you can have a tremendous experience emigrating to the USA through the DV lottery. So consider it. And if you win, if you're one of the lucky few that win, then fantastic. Good luck to you. All right. Have a great day. I hope that was interesting and helpful to you. Bye now.